We got absolutely hammered by a storm yesterday and last night. Lots of wind, lots of rain. I'm looking around out here at the winter pasture. There's branches and limbs down all over the place. So I think today I just want to drive around and check on all the animals at all the different places that we've got them. Make sure everybody's okay. Put out hay to those that need it. There's a lot of trees along the fence line out here. So after we take a round bale down to the steers at the steer pasture, I might try to come back up here on the side-by-side and run this fence line just to make sure that no trees fell on the fence. It looks like all the cows are here now, but they may have not found a hole yet if one exists. So let's hook up to this feed wagon and get to it. That's what's going on today on Farmer Tyler Ranch. I'm not exactly sure how much it rained yesterday and last night, but it's been a lot. And the way that I know that is just by the presence of a puddle back there where the cows were. On this ground, you almost never get puddles because it's so sandy that it can just soak it right up and it goes, you know, right down into the water table. Not to mention the fact that yesterday when I brought this bale out here, the slough along the road here was like almost empty. And this morning when I come out to get the trailer, there's a couple spots where the slough is almost flooding this road. So that's pretty much what it's like living in Northern California. It's either a drought or a flood. Okay, let's see what kind of a mess we got here. Looks like today's a pitchfork day. Oh man, this hay is wet, which makes it heavy and hard to pitchfork, but it's not moldy, so they can definitely eat it. It just makes it a little harder to handle. It's like Pandy's food. He got a little bit, but we'll give him some more. Okay. Yesterday I actually had a Pandy cat sighting. I think it's the first time that I've seen the cat in person in months. I've caught him on the trail cam a few times, but he's pretty elusive, so not tame yet, definitely. As soon as he saw me, he took off. And I keep saying he. I'm actually not sure what it is, if it's a male or a female cat. I actually assume it's more likely to be a female because I think female cats have more of a tendency to stay in one spot, whereas males are more likely to roam and go look for company. And how are you guys doing this morning? You guys probably have the best setup for storm weather. The bull and these two steers, they've got a nice little house here. They probably fare the best when the weather is bad because more of their enclosure is covered than not. Not yet. Almost. Well, maybe tomorrow I'll be able to tip that bale over, but it wasn't happening today. Finish what you have. That's gonna happen a lot today. All right, well that ought to take care of these guys for now. I'll come back this afternoon and it'll be kind of a little bit more of the same. There'll be a bunch of hay right in the middle of the feeder that they can't quite reach, so I'll rake that out for them, and by tomorrow morning these feeders will be perfectly clean and ready for a new bale. Since it's not going to rain today, we'll go ahead and put a bale in the feed wagon so that it's ready to go for me in the morning, and we'll throw a bale in the back of the truck and we can head down to the steer pasture. Well, they look happy to see me. I guess they know what I've got in the back here. So we'll go grab the tractor and get this thing unloaded. You can see I made a little mistake when I loaded this round bale. I didn't realize that I set it down right on top of the spear. So I'm hoping I can wrestle this thing out of there. Otherwise, I guess I'll just cut it out. Man, just look at all the water flowing through here. I've never seen it do this before. I always kind of suspected that this area down here was kind of like a marsh, just because it's so flat. And then also, judging by the plants that are growing here, berry vines, and then this grass here, I don't know what it's called, but it seems to like a lot of water. Huh. Oh yeah. Well, there's water. Well, would you look at that? I'm kind of glad I walked down here now. I I was impressed with this little drainage creek, and under the fence there is a bunch of electronet. I'm not sure what that's doing here, but I think whoever put it there has probably forgotten about it. I'll have to ask the landowners what the deal is with that, and maybe I can get my hands on it. All right, boys, I'll see you Wednesday or Thursday, huh? Don't eat that all in one day now. Okay, another job done. All right, we're back here at the ranch now. Oh, it took me forever to go get a bale out to those steers, because with all the rain we've got, a bunch of the roads for me to get out to where they're at were flooded, so I had to detour, and just a mess. But we got it, we're done. I was able to swing by the feed store and get some food for the pigs because they're needing it. And speaking of the pigs, I also have a couple of straw bales here that I want to take to them because their pen is ultra muddy right now, and it doesn't really seem to bother them that much, but I have to think that at night when they want to go to sleep, it would be nice for them to have a dry spot where they could get up out of that mud. So we're gonna grab these straw bales and take it back to the house and spread it out for them. Boy, I think that one got a little wet. Man, I thought when I bought that round baler I'd seen the last of small squares, but here we are. And I know what you're thinking, it's just straw bales, they can't be that heavy. Well, they weren't until they got rained on. Now they're wet, so they are heavy. I think when I got them, they probably only weighed like 60 pounds. Now, I'm guessing around 100, 110. I guess as long as we're here, we may as well do kind of the evening routine. It's late enough that we can do that. All right, you guys will probably get a new bale tomorrow. So I'm gonna rake up as much of this as I can, and hopefully they eat a lot more tonight. But I think we're getting down to a lot of this hay is kind of wet, and I don't know if it smells bad or what, but they don't really seem to like it too much. So we'll see what they can do tonight, and then tomorrow I'll give them a fresh bale. How'd this crew do today? Looks like you guys still have enough, so I'm not gonna touch it. If you're new to the channel, you're probably wondering why I have so many different groups, so many different pens of cattle. And sometimes I just take for granted, or I think people, know this without me telling them. So the cows that we saw this morning over at the winter pasture where we picked up the feed wagon, those are all breeding females. They go to that pasture for the winter time because they don't have to deal with mud and things like that over there. I wish that it was big enough that I could take them all over there, but it just simply isn't. So I split the breeding herd up and take half of them there, and then the other half is up here in the main corral. These guys are half of our harvest steers. The other half were at the other property we were just at with the Kubota. Those guys in the Kubota pasture, the steer pasture, they're gonna stay there until the spring. These guys have harvest dates that are set a little bit sooner than that. That's why they're back here at the ranch. And then this pen has this calf here with the #1 ear tag will be a breeding bull. I think he'll be ready to go for this breeding season. That will be in June. He's still kind of a little guy now, but by then he should be big enough to get the job done. Not by himself, he'll have some help, but that's what he is. He is in the bullpen, and I just didn't want to have him in here by himself, so he's with these other two steers. So these guys, they're just all, I call this like the frat house or the bachelor pad, I don't know, but they hang out in here. These guys have gotten super gentle just because I'm so near them all the time, and I think, every time they see me, they get fed and something good happens. So you can tell they've gotten really gentle, which I like. The rest of the calves out here in this pen are the same age as that bull calf and those two steers. This is this year's calf crop, and this is what's left. So hopefully next week or maybe the week after, We're gonna sell a bunch of these guys so I don't have to keep feeding them. We'll keep harvest steers for next year and replacement heifers, but whatever doesn't fall into either one of those categories is gonna go down the road. Get your fork in. All right, well, I think I've laid eyes on every single cow that we own today, so let's get this straw home and we'll take care of the pigs. I think that'll ride. Fall over. Oh, yes it does. All right, guys. He didn't like that. Well, that was a bad throw. It may not look that impressive and cozy right at this moment, but what pigs do when you throw bedding in for them like that is they'll root it around and spread it out, and eventually they end up kind of making like a little nest is the way to think of it. And all 5 of them will get in there in the nest, pile on top of each other, and they'll stay nice and warm tonight. Well, I finally got everybody dialed in and taken care of, and I just don't have time to run over to the winter pasture and check that fence line. I was really hoping to be able to do that. So I think what I'll do instead is tomorrow morning before I go to get the feed wagon and take over there, I'll throw the 4-wheeler in the back of the truck and then I can run the fence, and hopefully I don't find anything, but at least if I do, then I know what I'm dealing with. That's just the way it goes sometimes, and if you're me, that's the way it goes most of the time. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.